What's up, everybody? It's Ronald, and I have some exciting news. Tickets are now on sale for Time Well Spent Live. This is the live recording of this very podcast you're about to listen to right now. It's going down on Friday, October 4th at 7 p.m. at the Torpedo Factory Arts Center here in Alexandria, Virginia. It's going to be a lot of fun. My good friend Marcus is going to do some stand-up comedy. I'll be chatting with guests from old episodes. I'll be answering some advice questions with Mass Potential. There's free popcorn and cake, and we'll even have some merch to sell. So please, 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 go get your tickets right now at OhitsBigRon.eventbrite.com. That's OhitsBigRon.eventbrite.com. Bright is spelled B-R-I-T-E. I want to see all of your smiling faces at the show, and tickets might sell out fast, even faster if you would just stop wasting time. Go to OhitsBigRon.eventbrite.com now. Also, my talented friend Morgan Givens has just started season 2 of his fiction podcast, Fly's Fables. And let me tell you, it's a great show. If you're a fan of The Never-Ending Story or The Princess Bride or The Wizard of Oz, imagine those worlds, but even more immersive. And he hosts, does all the voice acting, sound design, and production himself. It's created quite the buzz in the audio community. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Again, the name is Flyest Fables. And now, let's start the show. So far this year, we've done episodes entitled Heartbreak and Bad Person. Both episodes deal with losing relationships. In one case, finding it again, and in the other, moving beyond it. There was something I mentioned in the Bad Person episode that I want to bring to your attention. It was during the portion of the episode where I talked about reconciling with my friend Michael Jefferson. Let's take a listen. Easily picked up where we left off and never actually talked about what went wrong. However, I bear resentment with people over conversations I never had but wish we did. And I thought it would be wise to address the elephant in the room. I asked if he'd be willing to have that conversation on tape. The elephant in the room. In some of my relationships, I perceive so many elephants, there isn't really a room left. I think about closure and clearing the air often. There were a couple of relationships that I lost last year, and even some that I still currently have, where I've been unable to say what I need to say. It bothers me. It's that feeling of, dang, what I should have said was, or, man, I wish I could say. It's just those random thoughts that come to me articulated so clearly when I'm in the shower or driving somewhere in silence. Time and reflection always give us wisdom in the future that would have been very valuable in the past. But sometimes I wish I could just say what I needed to say in the moment without hesitation or fear. Whether it be old bosses, old relationships, both romantic and platonic, or even encounters with strangers, I find that despite striving to be as direct a person as possible, I often leave a lot unsaid. Welcome to Time Well Spent. I'm Ronald. Today, we're going to talk to a friend of mine.
Hi, I'm Pam.
Pam is a local photographer here in Alexandria, and recently she showed me a way that she sought out closure for herself, even when the person she needed it from wasn't available. Pam recently broke up with her boyfriend. They hadn't been together very long, under a year. However, she hadn't seen any signs or indications that a breakup was looming.
It was pretty random and sudden, and he had to call me because I was on vacation. He was actually going to join me at the end of my vacation, but a few days prior had called and let me know that he wasn't going to be able to make it, which I did not think anything of. But he called a few days after that and pretty bluntly was like, I am going to need to end this relationship. I just found out some stuff that's going on in my family. Work is getting really crazy. And he gave the very apparent feeling that there was no chance for him to reconsider this, and really left me very confused. In the moment, I was really worried about his feelings and recognized that there was nothing that I could really do about it. So I was like, okay, I wish you the best. I don't know what to say. I did try to ask him a couple questions, but he wasn't being very receptive. And when we hung up, I genuinely just had no idea what had just happened at all in this relationship that I thought was solid and healthy and moving along in a forward direction.
So Pam was left without closure, which for her wasn't just something that would be a nice to have. She really felt like she needed to have a proper final discussion in order to put this relationship to rest.
I think that closure to me is something that is almost physically necessary, especially in regards to my anxiety. Because when I don't have closure, I obsessively can think about something, and anxiety for me manifests as this like physical, horrendous buzzing feeling in my body. And so not being able to take care of something, not being able to finish it will keep me up at night and will just obsessively fill my thoughts for weeks. And that discomfort way outweighs the discomfort of actually having just forced myself to say those things to that person, but I didn't do it. And I try not to regret anything in my life, but those are the moments where I have like these little spikes of regret.
Pam's ex-boyfriend wasn't interested in having another conversation. He had made his decision, and at that time, that put Pam in a bit of an awkward position. She found herself a little lost, but needing to do something to occupy her thoughts.
The day after, actually, was the 4th of July, and some friends had invited me out, but it was like a bunch of couples, and I could not stand being around anybody in the moment. So I went home and immediately sat down and took out just like a normal scrap of computer paper and wrote sort of a story as to how I felt about the 4th of July and how weird it felt. And so it was very like prose based, but also expressing the hurt that I was feeling. And beyond the hurt, I started to then have like anger and confusion. And I've learned many times over in my life, like you don't always get closure. You don't always get to ask people. So you have to find a way to do it yourself if you need to. And this felt like it might be a moment to have an opportunity to be able to do this thing for myself that I think is kind of important for us to figure out how to do on our own.
So Pam began to channel her feelings into her creativity.
I took a cardboard sheet of paper and folded it in half so that it could hold like a bunch of other little scraps of paper in it. I took an initial little sheet where I wanted to address to him what this even was, and so I did that. I wrote everything down. I have this one list that is like word snapshots of the things that I would miss, and then the things that had made me really angry.
I remember when Pam mentioned she broke up with her boyfriend and described what she had made to me. I was astounded, even more so when I saw the finished product. She called it a creative debriefing of a brief relationship, self-built closure, Peace by Pam Perez. It looks like a journal, but one created with great care and attention to detail. There is carefully written calligraphy that fills multiple sheets of paper of all types of sizes and colors. When she showed me, it looked almost like something you would receive at a work orientation when you're filled with hope, ready to conquer a new territory. Except in this case, the job was a breakup and the territory was no longer hers. But as she poured herself into this project, something happened.
So I spend these 2 hours working on this project. I'm like frantically writing everything down, getting everything out. When I'm done, I feel almost like elated by how relieved I felt and how much stress just left my body through sitting down and doing this little art project and making this little packet of sorts. My intention with it was to actually send it to him and allow myself to have closure that was external and also like reciprocated by the other person to some degree. Because sometimes that feels like an important element in the moment. Since then, I've kind of moved away from that, and I felt really happy with the idea of just having gotten it out, and I didn't feel the need to then send it to him.
So she didn't send it to him. She got the internal closure she felt she needed and didn't need to include him in the process. She was feeling good again. Asking her questions out loud made her feel heard, even if she was the only one listening, even if no one else responded. However, that conversation she didn't think she wanted, that she wasn't able to have with her ex-boyfriend, it ended up happening anyway.
We were able to talk on the phone, and I came prepared with my little packet nearby, but I'd also written a separate little thing of the things that I really wanted to express to him, because I didn't want to sit on the phone and say all the things that I would miss about him at that point. I was ready to just have this conversation and then close the door forever. So he called me after work, and there was a little bit of like awkward small talk. And then we jumped.
Pam had expected that if she felt good after creating her pamphlet, then that same catharsis should happen in this conversation as well. She told him how the breakup made her feel. She told him how the timing ruined her vacation. She asked him all the questions and things and expected his responses to help her feel better. He answered everything. He was honest and fair and true to himself while not being cruel or unkind. He wasn't a bad guy or some sort of ogre. He just wasn't invested in the success of the relationship anymore, and it felt like it was time to move on rather than lead Pam on. In the end, Pam appreciated it, but wasn't quite satisfied.
I think I was able to hear what he had to say, but also rebuttal, and then ultimately left the conversation feeling more angry. However, also feeling like I'd been able to say the things I hadn't been able to say to him. It took maybe like 24 hours for the anger to go away. And then I felt fine. I felt good. I felt glad that I'd had the conversation, despite how uncomfortable it was in the moment and how angry it made me for the following 24 hours. There was like certain verbiage that he used that literally just like kept playing over and over in my head again. But that is life.
There's a quote that says, "Bitterness is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die." I know I've drank that poison several times myself, waiting for a conversation that would never happen. And sure, having those conversations can oftentimes make us feel better. However, we can't expect anyone to say what we need them to say, or even to allow us to say what we need to say. In some cases, they're not even available to speak or listen to us. When that happens, what can we do? Pam presents two paths here. The first path requires someone else to be available and willing to engage exactly how we need them to engage. And the second path requires only ourselves. The good thing about the second path is that you're already equipped with the tools to walk it. And in the end, we have options rather than feeling bitter about the things left unsaid.
This small thing, this thing that took just 2 hours, this thing that was minimal effort overall and ultimately incredibly beneficial to me, I feel it as a piece of art and as therapy is something that we should all be doing more of. More writing, more putting effort into taking care of yourself. And if you don't get the chance to say what you need to say, do art, because art will save you.
Thanks for being on the show.
Anytime.
Special thanks to Pam Perez for sharing her story, and be sure to check out her photography on Instagram at littlemountaincreative.co and on her website, littlemountaincreative.com. If you want to see pictures of the pamphlet she made, you can check those out on my Instagram, which is, of course, at OhitsBigRon. It's definitely worth the look. You can't really put a cost on closure except for the cost of the time it takes to get it for yourself. However, clearing your room of those elephants is worth the time that it costs. So I guess you could call it time well spent. Time Well Spent is a production of OhitsBigRon Studios with help from associate producer Lizzie Peabody. Theme and additional music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. Outro music from Michael Corte. If you like the show, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps us find our way to the ears of new listeners. If you really want to support us, then consider becoming a patron of the show by visiting patreon.com/OhitsBigRon. That's Patreon.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at OhitsBigRon. That's OhitsBigRon. Thanks for listening to Time Well Spent, the podcast that nobody asked for, yet somebody is listening to. We'll be back soon.
My name is Pam, and I'm a photographer who lives in Alexandria.
Great. Don't do wild volume changes like that unless they happen naturally.
I saw myself do it.
Okay.
It's heartbroken.
Can you do it again this time, but just say hi? Just say hi, I'm Pam. Like, act like you're introducing yourself.
Hi, my name is Pam, and I'm a photographer.
No, but this time act
just
like
I walked up to
myself. You, like I'm coming up to you to say hello.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Pam. Sorry.
Like we're in the streets.
Give me like 2 seconds. Like I can't be looking at you. I know you. Oh, golly. Don't look at me either.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to be your most favorite podcaster friend.
I can already tell.
Hi, my name is Pam.
Okay, you did the volume thing again.
It's because I moved closer because I was introducing myself.
You don't have to get me closer.
I know. It was an involuntary. Oh, poor Ronald. This will get better, I promise you.
Just say, hi, I'm Pam. Just say that.
Oh, hi, I'm Pam.